Hey, Rainbow here and welcome to my channel. Guess what today is? I've been waiting for this package right here from the DDFM crew. Got that? If you're a smart rider. So this right here, I'm going to open up and I'm going to review the product that's in here. Stay tuned. Well, welcome folks, and this is the products that was in here. This is the ResQ Pak, and this is put together by DDFM, which is Dan Dan The Fireman. And if anyone knows, I speak rather highly of Dan because I believe he's doing the right thing. And some of you are going, well, Rainbow, who the hell are you to review a medical pack? I'm glad you asked. Let's go down memory lane a little bit. First off, I spent a long time as a first responder, and then that wasn't good enough, so then I became an EMT, and I was volunteer on an ambulance, and then that wasn't good enough, so then I became a paramedic. And then eventually I worked my way through the system, and I finally reached what I call, and many paramedics will call, the pinnacle of your career, which is being a critical care flight paramedic on a trauma helicopter. So I taught at a paramedic college, at a regular college that had a paramedic program, a 13-month program. And since 1996, that's when I first got my BTLS instructor, and that stands for Basic Trauma Life Support Instructor. It's no longer called BTLS. Years ago, it actually converted over to ITLS for International Trauma Life Support. And I've been, well, I'm not current anymore. The bottom line is I have a lot of experience with trauma and with EMS, and that's why I just could not wait to get my hands on something like this, because this is one of the best things that you can do. And I don't want to sound like a fanboy of Dan, but you know what, I think I am. But even though I am, I want to go through this pack in detail. I want to spread this all out, take a really good hard look at it, and I'm going to make a determination of whether or not I give this the Rainbow approval. You just can't go wrong having it versus having nothing, first of all. But let me go through this and let's talk about it. So the first thing you want to do is take a look at what's in the pack. It comes with 2 tourniquets with holders, one 12-inch moldable splint, 4 4x4s, 2 5x9 ABD pads, 4 rolled gauze, 2 triangular bandages, 1 Mylar blanket, 1 set of trauma shears, a CPR face barrier, a plastic whistle, a mini Sharpie, nitrile gloves, 1 set for you, 1 set of medium and 1 set of XLs, and then a DDFM Crew Smart Rider patch. It also has the rescue booklet, the rescue card, and it also has a blue training tourniquet. So let's review this. So far, I am rather impressed with this setup. It's great that they have a blue training tourniquet. I agree with having 2 on you. To be honest with you, you're rarely, if ever, going to need these, but if you do need a tourniquet, you absolutely, positively are at your wit's end, and it's going to be something that's going to be super important for you. So it's nice to be able to use this for some training and testing, so that you know, no one wants to open up a pack for the first time and try to figure out how to use it. So it's outstanding that this tourniquet here is provided. Now, 2, because if you use one, you have one as a backup. If you find someone where you need 2 tourniquets, yeah, they're not doing too good. Then of course you're going to have the mini Sharpie, because you're going to mark on here the day and the time that you put the tourniquet on. Nice set of trauma shears, always comes in handy, especially for gaining access if you have wounds, if someone's bleeding and you have to cut open a jacket, a pair of jeans to stop the bleeding. Comes in very handy. Now the triangular bandages, I think this is more long-term, when you're really waiting or someone's partially injured and you just want to immobilize their arm. So I would probably only have one of these, and I would trade that out for probably another probably another abdominal compress, to be quite honest with you. So this is good. Rarely use these, but it's possible these can also be used as a tourniquet, all right? But that's a whole other level of things. Has your 2 sets of gloves. Make sure that you always have extra gloves when you go out there. So that's something that I would put in there. The whistle's good if you're remote, you're off the side of a hill, you need to reach someone, you don't want to leave the person. That could be important. The splint is nice, it's a convenience, it can help alleviate some pain. Of course, you have your ResQ card that remind you of what to do. Super important here, if you're going to do CPR, that means you pretty much have to take a helmet off unless the person already has it off. You don't really want to go there, but if you have to, you have to. Things are pretty dire at that point. Super important right here, this emergency rescue blanket. I can't say enough about this. If you have to keep somebody warm, if you want to keep sometimes the sun from beating on people, keeping the core body temperature up a little bit, very important. These rolling gauze here, also super important, because if you have, especially if you have an extremity trauma or maybe something on the head, and you're already putting on some gauzes or an abdominal and you need to wrap it in place, hold it in place, that's what these are really good for. I could not have enough of these, and to be really truthful here, these abdominal pads, I would probably carry at least 4 of them, because if you've ever had someone who's really bleeding a lot, you just can't get enough on, even with direct pressure. And there are some times where people are bleeding from a particular area that you're not going to be able to use one of these. I had a guy one time who got hit. Well, he didn't get hit, he actually fell into a glass window and he was cut right up inside his armpit. And you know, we were dispatched for a guy with an arm injury, and we're like, oh, another BS call. And if we weren't literally within 5 minutes of the hospital, this guy would not have made it. As soon as we came through the trauma bay, they were already had clamps out, ready to clamp him off. This guy was completely bleeding out. So just remember, there are times when there's literally nothing you can do. So what do I think about this? I think this is a nice little pack. I like to call it like a cute little pack, because it is. It seems pretty well put together, has the YKK zippers on it, which is important. It has the dual zippers, which to me is even more important. I don't like single zippers at all. This is a convenience. If you have this and you need to immobilize, you can do this. If you're, near the woods, you can grab trees. You can grab branches. There's a whole bunch of other things you can do. I would probably get rid of this for more of these right here. I know I keep talking about these, but at least 4 of these, maybe 6. But 4, I think, for one incident should be good, unless someone is completely foobarred. It's at that point, to you, when you're waiting for EMS to get there, it seems like it's a lifetime. 1 minute seems like an hour, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it seems like an eternity. And I understand that. I definitely understand that, because I've stopped in situations where I didn't have all my equipment, I wasn't working, and I was a bystander, and I'm waiting for EMS to get there, and I'm like, how long is this going to take? So once you experience EMS on the other side, then as an EMS provider, you have a much better understanding. So 2 of these, wouldn't trade this off. This isn't going to go in the pack. Convenience, I'm going to customize mine, and after I customize mine, I'm going to show you what I've done with mine. I'm going to go buy some more product here. If you have this thing laying around for years, keep a good eye on it, because sometimes these things have a tendency to deteriorate. You definitely want to replace whatever you can. You can go, really, most of the stuff you can buy at a pharmacy. Okay, the trauma shears will last you a really long time. Leave them in the bag. Stop using them for, if you want to see how good these are, cut a penny in half. You'll see it'll work for that. But this is a really good pack. It's something that everyone should carry on them. It's just a matter of finding space on your bike for it, and at least getting yourself the minimal amount of training so that you don't freak out. And that's one of the things that I'm going to talk about next. When you have stuff like this and you're going to use it, the state of mind you're in is very important. Sorry, I got to change things up a little bit because I had a little problems with audio, so now I have to kind of monitor myself. So I just got finished talking about the state of mind that you're in, and I'm going to go over that, but let me just preface that. I'm going to do another video to show you how I've customized my ResQ Pak, and I am pretty much going to leave it there. I have no intentions of doing any medical training. We already have someone who's really good at that, and I'm just showing my appreciation and kind of driving home the point of how important it is to be prepared when something goes wrong. Now, with that being said, the state of mind that you're in when someone else is injured is one of the most important factors, because you have to keep your faculties about you. You have to be fully prepared for what's going on and not seem like you're freaking out, because then you're going to forget things. One of the things that we did in the paramedic program is we always started off every year with 50 people, and at the end of the year there was probably anywhere between 11 to 15 that actually ended up taking the test and making it through the program. We intentionally made it stressful because we need people who could perform and not get stressed out. So if you're calm and relaxed, no matter how much you feel inside, you're going to help the situation a whole lot. If you're going to stare at somebody's wound and go, oh my God, you're going to freak them out. Their heart rate's going to increase. They're going to bleed out even quicker. You're just going to, make things a lot worse. So make sure that you kind of step back, you remove yourself from the situation mentally, and you make sure that you are just focused on doing the things that need to be done, whether it's airway, breathing, circulation, scene safety always, of course, comes first. Making sure that you call 911. When you call 911, have information, know where you're at, find out information from the person. If they're still talking, get information. Hey, how are you? Where does it hurt? What happened? If you witness what happened, you obviously know the mechanism of injury, so you can describe it to the EMS personnel when they get there. It's a good idea while the person is lucid, you say, hey, do you have any allergies, any medications? Do you have how about past medical history? Even asking those things, you're going to come across as though you are in control of the situation, and you're going to calm down the person who is injured. Now, there are people who get injured who have all sorts of different responses. You have people who break their finger and you would swear that they were going to die in the next 3 seconds. And you also have people who are severely injured and they don't really understand it. So it's up to you to get in on these scenes and make sure that you are calm, cool, and collective, no matter how you feel inside. I know frequently as we were flying to a scene, and I would sit up in the front a lot because in the Marines I was avionics, I was air crew, so I was familiar with helping the pilot getting to a scene and helping with the radios and navigation. I would just sit and I would just run my hands back and forth on my flight suit because my palms were getting sweaty, because I knew we were heading into sometimes some really, really crappy situations, especially if it involves children, and especially when it involves children. So there are some things that happen that you get there and inside you're like, oh my God, but on the outside you got to go, okay, what's going on? What do we need to do? So it really has a lot to do with you being able to focus. And I think that's the most important part, is that you focus on what needs to be done, Okay? So I'm done. I think I've spoken enough. I'd like to commend Dan The Fireman for putting this together, for doing what he does, because he's the one who's out there calling people out on these videos when they make mistakes, when they make bad choices. It's really not when they make mistakes, but when they make bad choices, like I've done. I had a video where I tried cutting across 2 lanes, and what happened? I had to jam my brakes on. All right? Bad decision. I know better. Bad decision. I did it anyway. All right, there's another situation where there was a car cutting across me and it was blocking my lane, and it should have went into the median, but instead it just stood broadside, and I was like, they're gonna move, they're gonna move, they're gonna move, and at the last minute I had to swerve around them when I easily could have changed lanes. So we all make mistakes. It's just a matter of, you know, owning up to them, and that's it. So if you don't already have a ResQ Pak, I make no money from this. I have no kickback. There's no nothing. There's no association here whatsoever with Dan Dan The Fireman. Whatever kit you can afford, I would get. I like the one that I got. Again, I'm going to customize it based on my experience. I have to find a place that I want to put it, so I may have to ride with my panniers more often than I really want to, or I can just strap it to the back and have it there all the time. But anyway, this is Rainbow. Please like, please subscribe. I know this is different for me, but you might have learned a little something. All right, thank you, and have a good day. Bye-bye.